Because at the Standard Health and Rehab, if nothing else, we are trying to teach everybody how to be proactive managers. Proactive managers. We know without a shadow of a doubt, somebody's going to call out. Somebody's going to have to leave early. Somebody's going to have to come in late. We're going to have to do a room change. We're going to find hearing aids and dentures and knickknacks in bedding in the laundry room. What do you do about it? We know it's going to happen today. We know that linen's going to get thrown away. We know that there's going to be some soiled stuff coming into laundry. We know that some equipment's going to be breaking. We know that staff are not going to be showing up. You know that intuitively now. Let's start having the conversation about when that happens, what to do about it. What's the protocol? What's the process? That's the benefit of the Standard Health and Rehab, that we can forecast all of these things. We can play them all out in a model so that when you take it back to your facility, you're way, way, way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game to provide the best services possible, which, by the way, in housekeeping, our mission is to provide a clean, safe, and sanitized facility for our residents and our fellow coworkers and our visitors. That's what we want to do. We want the place to look beautiful, and we want it to be completely disinfected on a consistent basis. It takes a plan, it takes a process, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a structured plan before you even start, before you even walk in the door. And that's what the Standard Health and Rehab does. It provides. Well, that's it. It couldn't have ended quicker.
I can see that.
I like that promo video, but it's not appropriate for the Housekeepers podcast. I got to change. I got to get a new thing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Housekeepers podcast, the cleanest hour in podcasting. The place where we make the impossible possible. The dirty clean. I don't know. I'm working on my intro. Tyrone, how you doing?
Thank you for your patience.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm happy to meet you, and I'm happy to have you on the show. I've been excited to talk with you and to learn more about you. I've heard all kinds of great things about you, and I've seen a lot of great things that you've been doing over there. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
I've been busy getting a lot of things done, coaching my staff, changing things around, make them better, make them feel, that they, part of the team, family, keep them the motivation pretty high. I work with them, close to them. I kind of teach them a couple of tricks here, there to make their job better and, more proactive. And, they appreciate that every day, every day they see you, welcome. When they go home, thanks for coming. You did a great job, and you have to keep that connection because, sometimes some people, they will tell you, oh, they're bad people, but, you don't know until you work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's back up actually. So you work in nurse, you run you're the facilities director of a nursing home, all right?
Yes.
Do you run housekeeping, laundry? Do you also do like facility maintenance at all, or just housekeeping, laundry?
I got facility maintenance, I got security, I got laundry and housekeeping. I got all 4 departments.
I don't know how you have time for me. That's a lot.
Look. As soon as I heard you, I said I have to call Ralph. Don't tell me again. I said, where are you? The computer will not work. And I said, oh my God, wait a minute. I'm going to.
No worries. So when did you get into this? How long have you been working in this field? When did you start?
Over 21 years. I'll be honest with you, Ralph. I did this as a part-time thing. I saw my friends working in a hospital that I started, and I see nobody doing anything. And I said, like a joke, I want to be like you guys. But at the same time, my life changed because I was working at that time in a factory. I was the general manager making circuit for this company. And then I started working in healthcare in the afternoon. Then little by little kind of went to college. I educate myself. I see how important healthcare become, and my life changed. And then after that, I become, who I am right now.
That is so fantastic. I absolutely love that because As I was saying the other day, I did a little promo. I came on just talking about the Housekeepers podcast and my intent and how excited I am just to be meeting everybody who's signed up. I have so many people who want to be on the show. I'm so happy because it's, housekeeping is just such an important field. It always has been.
It is.
And we're I'm not going to sit in here and cry foul, but it's like one of those it's an easily overlooked profession.
It is. It is.
And
it's hard to hear people, we understand how crazy it was last year with the COVID-19, and I never took a break. I went right through, and I went to the Javits Center. I worked with, 2,000 beds with the government. I did so much to make sure, everything was done. I even went to college, some training online. That way I could be certified to how to clean, to be proactive. A lot of people, when I started working in last year, a lot of staff was very scared. I said, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm going to get COVID." I said, "Really?" I said, "No. COVID is not just like that. I have to educate the people, make them more stronger. And when they saw me working and doing things the way it's supposed to be, using the right PPE, making sure they see what I was doing, everybody was cleaning at the same time. Everybody was involved. Everybody was doing all the process. And I said, you see, do you took COVID home? They said, no. I said, okay. Then, you know what I'm saying? Now it's easier because now we went through a whole year. Like I said, because everything closed, nobody took vacation. Nobody did anything. We all work almost 24 hours taking care of this. And they're still doing it. We're still taking care of everybody, the residents, the patient. And I welcome everybody. Like the resident, they know you by your name. It's very comfortable. They call you, they talk to you, and you make them feel like this is your home. And I want them to feel, safe and at the same time comfortable that they could talk to me anytime they have any concern, they come to me. And my staff is very open. I have an open door policy that anything, come and see me. I stop what I'm doing and then right away you see me up and down. I say I'm gonna lose like a 15 pound and I'm gonna go back and skinny again. Yeah, right.
You're speaking a lot of truth. I sometimes get in, and by sometimes I mean all the time, I get into a lot of situations, especially on social media, where there's an awful lot of anti-management rhetoric out there. I mean, you can look anywhere. Everybody's all just hates managers. Everyone's like, I want leaders over managers, as if there's some humongous difference between a leader and a manager. And trust me, there isn't, because if you want to be an effective leader, somebody who repeats the leading, you have to be a manager. It means you have to be an effective manager. Being a leader one time, one situation, and one time in your life does not equate greatness. Okay. Right. Yeah. So it's those of us who are on the ground managing day after day after day after day. And you just said it. I don't know. I mean, there were maybe a couple of people last year, but for the most part, most of the managers I work with, all of them canceled vacation. They all started working every day. I had this one housekeeper manager. He was running it was 100-bed home, but they were so short in beds. I think it ended up being around a 60-bed home, really. I mean, it's 100 beds, but they don't think their census is around 60. But he was having such a hard time, not just with getting employees, but the employees he had, they were scared to death to work on the quote unquote COVID unit. Yeah. And so the manager did. The manager every day cleaned the COVID unit.
No, I got everybody involved. Everybody. Yeah. You have to show them. Look at the doctor. Look at him. When he come out of the room, what he's doing? Changing gloves, washing his hand, using Purell. You have to follow the same process. Protect yourself. Don't take it. What are you going to take it home for? You have to lead by example. If you don't work with them and you don't show them, forget that. It's the same thing when I used to work in the hospital, in the ORs. They're scared to death, the blood and everything. I'm like, really? I said, come on, guys. And they see me walking with them. They're like, oh, my God. I said, yeah, for a short guy like you could move quick. I said, probably.
It's funny when I was trained on how to clean an OR. I remember standing outside the OR room, and you know how it is. You have to get all gowned up and bootied and the whole thing, and then it's just a waiting game. You're just waiting for the surgery to get over. And the way that the hospital that I was working at, we only did the OR at the end of the shift. So nursing would clean the OR between shifts, between surgeries, and then we'd go in and deep clean. And I remember, there are times, it depends on what the surgery is, right? Some required housekeeping between. But I remember my first time getting in there and doing it. And the trainer, this guy, Mike, he goes, do you like cranberry sauce? I'm like, what? He goes, do you like cranberry, like Thanksgiving dinner? Cranberry? I'm like, of course. He goes, that's all I think about. When I see it on the floor, I just think it's just cranberry sauce. Somebody knocked over a dish. And I didn't understand what he was saying until we walk in. And then you're like, oh, that's not cranberry sauce.
That's blood.
That's blood. That's
that either.
Yeah, but that's fun. When I way before COVID, and we've in nursing homes, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but we deal with everything, right? So VRE, C. diff, MRSA, HIV, everything, hepatitis, right? Like we've been around this stuff forever.
Droplets.
And when I would train new housekeepers, especially when I would train laundry aides, because laundry aides are really they're really the only ones having physical contact.
They're more exposed.
Yeah, they have physical contact with stuff.
They don't have the right PPE. They're more exposed because they open bags, put it in the machine. The process is different from anything else that you do in the hospital or any nursing home, any healthcare facility. In
my experience, it is never a lack of PPE that gets laundry aides in trouble. Yeah. It's laundry aides don't want to put on the PPE. That's the problem.
Yeah. Nobody want to use it.
Yeah, they don't even. They're like, no, I'm just gonna put it on. And so I'm always telling them about a MRSA hug. And they're always like, what's a MRSA hug? I said, a MRSA hug is after spending all day in the laundry room and you're touching dirty laundry and you don't put the gown on because you don't feel like it. And then you go home and your kids run over, Mom, Dad, and you give them what we call a MRSA hug because the MRSA lives on the clothing.
That's all true. And then you don't know why your kids are sick.
Yeah.
Your wife is sick. Everybody's sick and you're like, what's going on here?
I know.
But you get from work and bring it home. And
that's right. MRSA hug.
Yeah.
I know. When I first started working in long-term care, it was way different than it is now. I mean, regarding the common practices and everything. I mean, I remember when I first started working in long-term care, this is something just on nursing, but nurses cleaned their own med cart. And not only did they clean it, but when they changed over from one nurse to the next, the nurse that you were given the med cart to wouldn't take it if it was dirty.
Yeah, they wipe everything.
You got to clean that thing before you're giving it to me. And nowadays, housekeeping is now in charge of cleaning med carts for some reason. I don't know how that happened.
From med cart, wheelchairs, you name it. We have a list that never finished.
No question.
I know.
But one of the when I first started in long-term care, one of the most interesting things I saw, and it kind of set me back a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, well, that's weird, is the nurses would change their shoes when they went to work. They wouldn't even wear the same shoes home.
Yeah, that's true.
So when they got to work, they would put on their healthcare shoes, which were the same shoes that they walked in on, but they were only for the nursing home because they didn't want to bring any critters home. And I was like, what is on the floor that you have to wear a separate pair of shoes for? I was like, what?
And then think about it. Even if you change the shoes, when you're walking out of the locker,
it's totally it's a complete waste of time. Yeah, I know. But at the time, that's what it was. I mean, people were wearing separate shoes and things were different. So have you always been in long-term care? You muted yourself. I can't hear you. I can't. No, I still can't hear you. Let's see. No, I still can't hear you. What did you do? You don't know what you did. You did something. All right, so you're not a techie. That's what we're learning here. Not a techie. That's all right. Me neither. No, I still can't hear you. Something must have happened. Maybe sometimes when I get a message when I'm on my phone, because I know you're on your phone, sometimes a message will come through and it'll take away the volume for some reason. I don't know why that is. You're gonna have to figure it out. Maybe log off and try logging back in or something. Maybe that'll be. Can you still hear me? Yeah, you can still hear me. So log off, log back in. I'll take over the show from here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Housekeepers podcast. I'm an expert. I'm a pro. You ain't gonna worry about this. It looks like I'm in split screen though. Am I in two different screens now? Because that's bizarre. Hey, there is always people coming up with the top 10 this or the top 10 that. I just found, and it's so hilarious. Tyrone, you're back. If you can get back into the studio, add to stream, talk.
Okay, here we go.
You're back.
Yes.
Hey, that was super easy. Hey, Tyrone,
What was the question again?
Well, I was asking how long, if you've only worked in long-term care. You said you did work in hospital first, right?
I started working in hospital first.
Yeah.
The first thing, hospitals. I work more like in big volumes, 1,000 beds plus, big.
I lost you again, Tyrone.
Goodness.
There you go. I keep losing Tyrone. Anyway, so there's, as I was saying, everybody comes up with these top 5, top 10 or whatever. I just found a top 15 comebacks. So a comeback is, like, what are you going to say in response to somebody else? Then these are 15 comebacks when dealing with mean people. And I think they are hilarious.
Sorry.
You're all right.
Okay. No, I started with hospitals. And like I said, in the course of my life and my career, then, start working in nursing homes, and then believe it or not, that I like, working in nursing home, with the people, and then taking care, what
did you
needs are.
Yeah. What did you do in the hospital though? What was your job in the hospital side?
Well, I was in a couple of hospitals. I was the director and assistant director, of housekeeping and laundry. I never did facility. I started doing facilities and security when I started going for nursing homes, more training, more certification. You have to do a lot of things, work with, maintenance, plumbing, electrical, carpet, everything, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You get all that, experience, then you start, kind of open up to more, facility, more people with business. It's not easy because, like I said, I'm running 4 departments and I'm all over the place. Here, there, here. And I'm like, I think I take lunch and I don't feel it. I'm like, take a lunch, and I'm they say, you took your lunch? Yeah, I did. I'm like, I don't remember what time, but I did.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's not weird. I run into it a lot where the facilities manager, the maintenance person, is also in charge of housekeeping. And I can see where it would be helpful, but I also can see where it'd be quite a challenge.
Yes.
Because if the facility has any kind of a power outage, water issue, or, mechanical issue, air conditioner down, heater down, water pipe break,
you have to be on top of everything.
You lose sight of housekeeping quickly.
Yeah.
And laundry quickly. And it's like all of a sudden that becomes so not important to the facility director, while at the same time.
That's why you have to have the right team and the right people in those positions. If you are giving time to every single one and doing the right thing, they all they're all gonna make you shine no matter what.
So what do you do? Let me ask you, what kind of scheduling do you run? Like, how do you communicate with your staff when there's an emergency?
It's like believe it or not, the way this place is designed is in circus. It's connected. The basement connects every building, every corner of everybody. And
Okay.
believe it or not, you see me coming out of my office, and then I start with the laundry. From the laundry, maintenance. For maintenance, security, I check, making sure everything is good in the parking lot, making sure everybody got, the temperatures, the paper log, everything. Then I go floor by floor, checking and welcome all my staff to making sure they have the right thing on the car. Do you need microfiber? Do you need this? Check the closets, go downstairs, check my emails, go back downstairs, have some coffee, go back again, do my choo-choo train again. It's like back and forth. And believe it or not, I do my whole day plus place orders, making sure all the tools or whatever that we're missing. And then I see my vendors to make sure we get whatever we need to improve, to make it happen, to work. It's not something that some managers that in my career, I see them and they sit in the office and that's what they do. And then they in the internet buying, new shirts and new ties. And let me buy some rent for my Mercedes or do this and do that. I mean, really? Really? Do you know the names of your staff by name, by area, by people? No. They don't even know their names. It's sad. That's the reality of being in management. You need to know your people, your staff. You need to know what are the skills. How are you going to develop your staff and your people if you don't even know how, as a management, you don't even know how to drive a ride-on machine or side-by-side or strip and wax or clean the carpet. How are you going to develop them? You have to know this. You know what I see? People that getting promoted and they can't even see where to put the water. They put the water in the wrong. When the water comes out, they put it in. And the machine doesn't have water, but I just put water. Where? I'm like, really? You the manager? Are you in charge? Oh, okay. That's good to know. I like
I hired a guy once who was a second shift hospital supervisor.
Okay.
And I hired him to run a nursing home, 160 bed nursing home. And I thought that I had hit the lottery. Like I was just, because prior to finding him, everybody I was trying to promote into that position, I was legit trying to promote into management. So it was a big task of not just promoting them, but also teaching them the whole operation side, teaching them about business acumen, because you can't, if you don't have any business sense, you can't be an effective manager at any level. So, I mean, there does come some business acumen. You do have to understand dollars and cents. You do have to understand budgets and trying to work around and work within.
Yeah.
And so it can be a lot to teach someone, especially from scratch.
Yes, of course.
And so this is my first guy that I had stolen from another facility, right? Like I offered him something. He'd been wanting to be a manager. He's been a supervisor for a long time, ready to take that next step. And I was so excited. And one of the first things I did, so I put him on a job of stripping and waxing a dining room and with a floor tech, but the floor tech was new too. So the floor tech didn't have a lot of experience either. So I said, all right, I'll start it with you both, but I'm sure that you've stripped and waxed a lot. I say to this guy I just hired us to be the manager, and he's like, absolutely, done it a million times. I'm like, great, no problem. So we stripped the floor together. We're all working hard together. And I say, all right, guys, I'm going to go walk around, do rounds, put the first coat of wax on. I leave, I come back, Tyrone, and there are puddles of wax. And they're standing around just waiting for stuff to dry. I go, whoa, what? Why are there puddles? And the guy goes, well, I mean, we just put it on. I mean, the floor has dips in it. I said, how did you put the wax on the floor? And without blinking an eye, as if it's the most innocent thing in the world, he says, I just dumped it on the floor. What am I supposed to do? I felt like I got cheated. I felt like somebody lied to me. I was like, you were the supervisor of a hospital and you didn't, and your waxing is just pouring it on the floor. Oh, so he quit anyway. He didn't quit right on the spot, although you could tell he wanted to, because I was beside myself.
Well, I have almost the same experience like you. The guy gave me, I'm hiring new people, new techs, and the resume was, oh my goodness, the biggest. I said, whoa. And then all of a sudden, I asked, I tell him names and stuff and paths and the colors. He looked at me. Now I said, come with me. And then I took him to the equipment room, and he was like, wow, look at this. Wow. And he's bugging out. And I go like this. Okay. I said, what we use this machine for? He had no idea. What is this for? Nothing. What? And then I said, well, whoever typed and did your resume, he failed, because you should have started this before you came to see me. Okay. It was nice meeting you. Thank you.
You know what, Tyrone? I'm going to do a public service announcement, if I may. So let me give a public service announcement, because I'm going to make something clear to people who want to apply and to work in housekeeping, in floor care, in laundry,
Yes,
in a health facility. But you know what? I'm going to say that this is true among every housekeeping field in the world. I'm going to go out on that kind of a step here. Okay, here it is. This is the best way to approach applying for housekeeping. First of all, if you have a pulse, we're interested in hiring you. That's first. If you're upright and breathing, we are interested. That's number one. Number two, a positive attitude and a willingness to learn is all you need. Yeah. You do not need fancy credentials. You don't need to tell me how many machines you run. Say, I've run a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure if I run what you have, but I'm willing to learn, and I'll do anything. I'll be on time. I'll show up on time. My watch works. I know the bus schedule. Whatever it is, that's all you need. You don't need fancy skills. You don't need fancy certifications.
Oh, even listen, even the first supervisor female that I promote from the team long time ago, she challenged me to the point that she was willing to learn how to strip and wax. Even the machine went, whoa, and took her to one side and said, whoa, take it easy. Let me show you again. And then this is how you do it. And take your time. Don't go crazy, because the machine is more powerful than anything. And she learned. She was willing to learn. And when she started doing the write-ons, how to change the pad, the right chemicals, everything, then when we had the new people, I said, well, now it's your change to teach them how to run this equipment safe. Now it's your turn. And I'm always watching. I'm 2 steps back to make sure it's all safe, because safety for me is always the first key of everybody. And the best thing is, when you know that your facility, especially your department, never have any accident, everybody always watching for everything, to take care, anything, something wet, they put the wet sign. Like I always teach my people, when you're going to start a room, the first thing you put in the door is the wet sign. That way you tell everybody that you're going to start process and you're going to do that cleaning. That way, that for me, I tell them that's your lawyer right there. Nobody cannot say, well, I fell. It was no sign. No, that's the first thing. It's like the uniform. The uniform, you need your uniform, you need everything to work with. And on top of that, if you don't have the right tools, how are you going to do your job?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I've gotten in a lot of trouble with floor care over the years because of wet floor signs and them staff not putting them out. And so I even have a wet floor sign right here. Hold on, let me show you this wet floor sign. Look at this. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Someone put an arrow on my wet floor sign. And when I was new in housekeeping, I didn't know any better. I looked at the wet floor signs and there were arrows on them. And I was like, okay, that's great. Here's the thing. Do you know what the arrow points to?
Which way you going to go?
No, the answer is it differs. It depends on who's looking at it.
Oh.
Nobody knows. It could point to what's wet, because it says caution wet floor. What, over there? Or is it caution wet floor, walk over there? Right? So that's what I got in trouble with. I had a nurse or a nursing assistant slip and fall on my wet floor, go to sue the company, workers' comp, the whole 9 yards. And when I say my wet floor signs are out there, they had a floor care expert as a like whatever worker for their lawyer. And I go, I'm a floor care expert. I don't, but that floor care expert argued that because I had the arrow on the wet floor sign, I was liable because that arrow does not indicate what side of the floor to walk on, or it indicates that one side is safe to walk on and the other side isn't. And because the nurse didn't know what the arrow meant, and neither could I tell you, we lost the case.
Wow, of course. Of course.
With peace and love.
Yeah, well.
Get rid of your arrows. Just, it's one of those things, like you're saying, safety first. And
safety's first. You have to always communicate with who's around. And you tell them, listen, by the way, we're stripping and waxing this hallway. Go around because we're going to finish it. And then they say, yeah, no problem. But always, one time we have this doctor, he was on his phone. And we told the doctor, stay on your right. And he's like, He keep going right. And he keep going to the left, and whoop, he was right on the ground. Phone went one way, everything. And I'm looking at him. I said, we told you to stay on your right. Look what happened. He's all his body was full of wax, and his phone broke, and it was a big thing. And I'm looking at him. I said, well, he left. Then we fixed the floor again, put wax. Now we closed the hallway. Forget it. It was a big mess with him.
That is one of the. You try not to hate people,
No.
But when you're waxing a floor at 3 a.m, because you have to do it at night,
yes,
you have to do it overnight,
yes,
and it's a long hallway, and by the way, it's the front entrance.
Yeah, forget that.
And your back is to the door because you're going backwards, and somebody walks by you and walks right up your wax floor. You just want to smack them. You're like. You had to duck under the caution tape. You had to pass the sign that says work in progress. You had to see I was waxing the floor. And you ignored it all.
They're walking.
You slipped. You're like, oh, whoop, and then just tiptoe to keep on going. I'm like, oh.
And then you have to rush to fix it before it dries.
Because there's nothing worse than the next morning going in and you're trying to buff out a footprint.
Your boss is saying, really? Look at all these steps. Footprint everywhere. Forget it.
You got to go back and do it again. You know what? I didn't want to do it the first time.
Yeah.
Do it again.
Me too.
One of the best buildings I had, and I was a district manager for a long time, so I ran a lot of nursing homes, a lot of housekeeping departments. I worked for a contract service for a long time, and one of the best district managers I know and worked with was a woman, and she stripped and waxed floors better than anybody. And then I had a building, a nursing home, a little 100-bed nursing home, where all the staff were women, and the floor tech was a woman. All the housekeepers were women, know, and they did an amazing job. They stripped and waxed all the time because stripping and waxing is really all about skill. It's not strength.
Yes, you're right. Because I had a team. And for my 16 guys, 2 was women, and they learned how to do it. And I always tell the guys, look at this floor. It's better than the other one that you did. And
that's nice.
her. And they get mad. They'd be like, then I challenge the guys. I said, come on, guys. You guys doing better. The floors, nothing, not corners. Everything was perfect. And I'm like, oh my goodness, guys. Forget that.
Too funny. So what may I ask, what are the biggest challenges for you now? I mean, not even just with the coronavirus, but just like you've been in this industry as long as I have. What are the changes that you've seen? Do you have like
the changes? Well, to be honest, it's not about changes. It's more like an improvement. You have a way to do things. Now you make it better. Now you see things in different angle. Now with more infections and more, things coming in hand without even you knowing. It's right in front of you. But if you're not doing it right the first time, and you're not coaching and teaching the people what they need to do right from the beginning, then they do, they shortcut. They do this, and it's impossible that you're gonna do a terminal clean in less than 15 minutes, a big room, and then and you come back and actually, first thing you do, you take the footrest of the bed, put it up and throw it, and then you go like this and say, really, you clean this? And then they tell you, oh, I didn't know that piece come out. Really? Really? Okay, let me look under the mattress. And you go up and you're like, oh my goodness, so many details. And then you put the person, as you are the patient, when you inside the bed, on the sides, you see the buttons. I said, look, you have to look in different angle. When I become a patient, like maybe 2 years ago, a small procedure they have to do on me, when I become the patient, I see everything in different angle. And then when you look up and you see the dust and you see this and you see the curtain, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I said, who did this room? And forget it. And then they know, oh, my boss is a patient here. Forget that. I'm like, you guys in trouble. You guys is in the biggest trouble. I'm going to retrain everybody again. Everything changed. Because then the doctors, they see you, they look at you. Wow, you improve everything. Now things are changing. Yeah, but when you become a patient, now you see things in a different angle. And now the approach is different, and the teaching and the coaching change. And then you have to improve yourself to make it better for everybody else.
1,000,000%. There is a book. I'm just looking it up here because I have it on my phone because I read it as a Kindle. It is called What Living as a Resident Can Teach Long-Term Care Staff. And it's by this woman named Leslie Pedkick. And it is, I'll send you the link to it, Tyrone.
That way I was going to write.
I'll send you the link to it. This book will change your life. This book should be required reading for everybody who works in long-term care. Everybody. Because it is this woman, administrator, she gets an IJ. She gets an administrative IJ, which is perhaps the worst kind of IJ you can get if you're a manager, right? Like it means the management team is the management team is so neglectful in one sense or another that they're causing harm, the immediate jeopardy due to management, which is the opposite of what you ever want to hear as a manager, right? And so she takes this opportunity to really look inside of herself and her team and say, what are we doing wrong and how can we get it better? What do we have to do to turn it around? And she actually comes up with it's like she makes it a contest. She starts it as a contest, but then it evolves into just a regular hiring practice. But the contest is, see how long could you last as a patient? What if you were bedridden? What if you could only use one side of your body? What if you had to change your diet to where it was all ground or pureed food?
Oh my God.
How is your perspective going to change?
Yes,
right?
Yeah, you change. It changed.
This book, What Living as a Resident Can Teach Long-Term Care Staff, and I'll put it in the link on this video too. It's the type of book that I'm telling you, take the time to read it. It is such an amazing book, such an amazing lesson, many lessons.
Send it to me. That way I could read it.
I will. It is so important.
Like I told you, when I become a patient, things change so crazy.
Yeah.
I said to myself, well, my staff and my management team is not doing what's right. They're not doing the checklist. They're not doing it's a lot of gaps. And, like I said, I always said to people, don't never get comfortable. Never. Because this is not a job that you sit down and you be in your office. You spend more time on the floor with the residents and the people and your staff. And if you're not doing that and you're not taking care of your house, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You cannot call yourself and and be flashing people with your business card, like, yeah, look at this. This is me. Yeah.
This is my business card.
Call me. Really? For what? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, forget that.
Now, I completely agree. And you know what else I had to stop doing? And it took a long time to stop doing this because of my ego, I imagine. But for a long time, well, let me say it like this. Everybody I ever meet, ever, and it's never failed me, no matter what housekeeping place I'm in or food service someplace. Like every time I'm in a nursing home looking at either food service, housekeeping, floor care, or laundry, and I ask any type of question regarding what they're doing or what the policy is or something like that, everybody says the same thing to me. I have never been trained. It doesn't matter if it's a housekeeper, a laundry aide, a floor tech, or even the manager. Everyone always claims they've never been trained. And it drove me crazy because I'd have in-services signed by hundreds of people and every one of them saying they've never been trained on that. And so it took me a long time to let it go, to just simply not even listen to it. I was just working with a manager. I trained this manager myself, brand new manager to me. She didn't come to me as a new manager. She came to me. She worked in hotels. She worked in another nursing home. She came with the greatest credentials and turns out didn't know an awful lot, right? So how could you be working in housekeeping management for 10 years and know very little? That's what she claims. She's like, oh, nobody ever trained. So I train her. I do it all. I train her on everything, get her to sign off on all the in-services. Then fast forward 4 weeks, maybe 8 weeks later, I'm walking her facility and things are not getting done. And I say, well, do you remember, you got to do this and you got to keep track of that and don't forget about this or don't forget about that. And she says, looking me dead in the face, as serious as ever, nobody ever trained me. I had to bite a hole in my lip.
Oh my God.
Because I so bad wanted to just be like, are you kidding me? So instead, I've grown and I'm like, okay, no worries. Well, let me train you. I think to myself, again, I don't say that out loud. I just say, well, let me just show you how to do it and what we're talking about and why we do it. About 10 minutes into me re-explaining, she goes, you know what? I kind of think I have heard this before. I said, oh yeah? She goes, yeah, somebody did tell me this. I go, yeah, me. She goes, oh my God, you trained me on this. Yeah, okay. But the truth is, that's why having a training program for a one and done is not helpful.
No.
I mean, it's helpful in the short term, not in the long term. You need ongoing training, ongoing coaching, ongoing mentoring if you're going to have any success in this business.
Yes, you have to. Well, one of the places that I work that helped me a lot, when you go online, the hospital has their own training, and then you have to pass the test and do the training, and you have to compliance with the healthcare facility on a year basic. And one of them has, believe it or not, 233 training.
Oh my.
And because it was free, I was going and do it, this, that, boom, boom, boom. And I was showing people, do this. No, do it like this. No, that's wrong. And a lot of people change and learn, but they was there already for 10, 15 years, but nobody showed them. And they just said, you know how to clean, you know how to mop, how to sweep. That's it. You good. I'm like, what? No. It's so many things that make that, to make a better housekeeper, a laundry person, a cleaners person. It's not just change the light bulb and flush the toilet and that's it. No. You have to give them the tools and be with them to make sure they do it right. And then they see it. When they see you doing it, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. I say, now you do it. Show me.
Repetition is key, right?
But you have to do that daily and weekly. You have to do your meeting, your huddles. You have to be on top of everybody. You engage with them. Otherwise, some of them, they look at you. I said, okay? You're like, I'm here. Hello. And then, or you have a meeting, and there you see two of them going like this. I'm like, oh my God. I said, you okay? You got your coffee? You okay? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Well, that's your fault for holding in services after lunch.
I said, yo, wake up. Hello. Hey.
Too funny. Too funny. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on and talking housekeeping with me because
I appreciate you giving me that little clip.
yeah, I think it's so super important, you know?
Thank you.
I think it's so important. And I know you're on LinkedIn, right? So I'll tag you in this video. So if anybody wants to connect with you on LinkedIn, it'd be awful fun too, right?
Hey, listen, I always try to put a lot of positive things.
Yeah.
Make sure we're all on the same page. Coaching people. I have friends that sometimes, they work in hotels or in other industry, but they have housekeeping, and they always call me. I need this. Can you do this? Can I buy you lunch? Can you come to my? Can you come to me? I go. Listen, I'm gonna take a day off. I'm gonna go and help you, and I do what I have to do to make sure everybody we all on the same page. We help each other, and we always staying strong because believe it or not, housekeeping is one of the biggest things that a lot of people they forget about them and they don't appreciate them. And then a lot of people they've been there for over 30 years, 40 years, and they're always there, but they're like blind around people, and you have to appreciate them. One time you do the right thing, listen to me, they make you shine no matter what.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely true. And it's so super important. It's funny to me, and I don't even mean it's ha-ha funny, but just, every time I talk to someone like you, every time I talk to somebody who has been a managing for a long time, you're always focusing on how you can get better. You're always taking the blame and responsibility for helping others succeed. You're never shying away from, I could have done it differently, should have done it differently, could have communicated it differently, should have communicated it differently. And it's so refreshing. And it's why I absolutely love working in management. I just absolutely love it because that's a rare thing. Most employees do not do this. They don't look at themselves as the reason that things are not getting done. They don't look at themselves as the problem. They don't think of, them calling out is not their problem. It's your problem. And it's, if you don't get things done because they called out, well, then you're a terrible manager. You should have, where are you going? What are you pulling out? I don't know if you just saw, but I just went a little viral on LinkedIn over this thing.
You said something that I put in my agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. And it says here, absence make the team work harder. And it's in my agenda. Everybody sign. I go through the whole thing. And it's crazy that you just say that. And I always encourage people, you call out, you think, oh yeah, I'm staying home. And no. You make it harder for everybody else. And it's true. It's a hard thing. It's like this. You're going to write somebody up for absence, but you're always out. How can you fix that? You can. You can't. You got no excuses. And then sometimes even your own boss said, you need a day off. And I'm like, really? You think so?
Well, I appreciate it. And I think, again, that's what makes you so special. And it's what makes you so good at what you do is you look at management as what it is, which is I agree to be responsible.
Yes.
And there's not enough of us who are willing to raise our hand.
Not enough. And
say, I'll be responsible. And so I just want to publicly appreciate you for that because I think it's an amazing trait that you have. And
I appreciate that very much.
Again, the facility administrator and everybody you work with, they're blessed to have you, my friend.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Really blessed to have you. So thank you so much for being on the podcast, the Housekeeping podcast, the cleanest hour.
Thank you.
In podcasting.
I'll talk to you later. Okay. Be good.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you.